Thank you so much, Michael, and thanks to your whole team for having us and working with ACTRA to do this. It's so nice to see so many people from the northern community and also from Toronto who are here screening your films, and different projects from all over Ontario and beyond is amazing. So happy to be with you guys. And Michael did the intros, so I'll just jump right in, okay? You know, Michael mentioned that Nobel and the Kid is playing tonight. That I was going to ask you to, you know, just share that with everybody. So we'll just keep going. Yeah. Jordan, do you have anything that you want to talk about that's like cooking right now, or anything that's been screening lately?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, nothing that's screening at Cinefest, but I did just do the Sundance Film Festival and South by Southwest circuit for a film called Touch Me that's coming out, I think, closer to Christmas. It is sex-positive movie about two millennial idiots who fall in love with a narcissistic alien named Brian, who may be trying to take over the world. It should be a lot of fun. If it is playing anywhere near you, please go see it.
Oh, that's awesome. Ilona, can you talk about anything that's cooking, or?
Probably can't talk about what's cooking.
But there is cooking.
There's lots
but there's cooking, so that's always a good sign.
Good old NDAs. But I did just have a film called Adulthood premiere at TIFF. And it'll be on streaming on the 23rd of this month. So, and in theaters today, yes.
That's an ACTRA film, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Can you just tell us a couple people that are in the film from ACTRA?
Nick Name is one of them.
Yeah.
Who else do we have in there? Heather Mitchell. We've had a lot.
Amazing.
Of people in there. It's pretty incredible.
It's just really great to hear and see so many of our members working on Canadian films. Yeah, it's a good thing. Let's just talk like some quick questions about influences or things that inspired you, or the moment when you went, I want to work in this industry. Like kind of anybody who has something that bubbles up, go for it.
Oh, well, this is a story that my husband really likes. The very first part that I ever did, it was the very first play I auditioned for, and I think my parents thought too, I was just going to be some sort of like background chorus member. It was Charlotte's Web, but I actually got the part of the pig. And it was so much fun. I was 11 years old, and I think from that moment on, it was like, oh, I think you just, I don't know if other actors, I think other actors talk about getting bitten by the bug, and I think that was the moment. But I think it was not helpful that it was like the lead of the play, because I auditioned for another play the year after, and I was given a background part, and I didn't want to do it.
Devastating.
Which is not great, and I had to like unlearn a lot of that mentality later. But that was the moment. It was the pig.
Yeah,
for me,
Mine came from exposure to film at a young age. I was like 10 years old. I was staying at my grandparents' for a long weekend, and I went to watch a movie in their back room, and I pushed play. I thought my little Spider-Man tape was in there, and it was an Al Pacino movie, Scent of a Woman. And then I was like, my mind was blown, like 10-year-old Josh watching this movie that I probably shouldn't have seen.
I was gonna say, 10 years old watching Scent of a Woman?
So then I went, and they had this like VHS cabinet, and I pulled all the VHS that I could find with Al Pacino's face on them. And then I watched Dog Day Afternoon and Serpico and all these movies, and I was just like,
Are you okay?
I'm fine. It's like, it's taken some time to get here, but I feel like I'm balanced again. But like, I had all these contraband VHSs that I was watching. I was like, this is it. This is a new world. And like, they'd be coming down the hall, and I'd be like switching it back to YTV. Like, nothing's going on in here, Grandma. But that's where it started. Like, after that, I was like, I want to do that. I want to tell stories. I was just enamored with it. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think for me, I was an avid reader growing up. So once I worked on a film set at 16, I realized somebody gets to imagine what these people look like and are and put them in a film. And I got bit by set, not by the acting bug. So
that's so lovely.
Yeah, I've never made that connection, but yeah, like reading, imagining, casting, like it's really, yeah, what a beautiful kind of inciting moment. I have a story a bit like Jordan's. I was figure skating as a kid. I thought that would be really fun, and I wanted to. They were doing Ninja Turtles, and I knew about Janine, so I was convinced I would be Janine. But I was Ninja Turtle, and I quit. I quit in protest because I was like, no, I want to be with the red wig. I want to play. I want to be skate. You know, like. As a kid, you get attracted to these ideas, and then, yeah, you go through these bit of letdown periods as your career is kind of meandering about. Sort of a joke, but actually, like, what are the things that when you're starting out, you sort of have to like accept and understand as you're kind of growing as an artist, do you think? Like what are the things that you have to become reasonable about? If
you're not careful, your whole career can be a letdown period. It's about the way that you frame things and that you take things in. There's all, this is an industry of rejection, largely. And for myself, I know, like, especially like early on, before I got the hang of navigating that, it can get really challenging. But if you can control your mindset about your output, I'm comfortable in saying that I never put anything forward that I'm not sure is of high quality, and is work that anybody seeing it is going to be happy to receive. That doesn't mean I'm the person that they need for that role. They want me to be. They're my ally, right? They want me to solve that problem of who they need. Doesn't mean I'm going to solve that problem. And once I realized, as long as I can control what my output is and I'm comfortable in it and confident in it, it's easier to let go when it moves out there.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, I think sort of in that line of thinking, something that I had to really come to grips with actually later in my career was getting to know my casting. Which is something that's, I think, a tough pill for actors to swallow sometimes, because the idea is, of course, we can play anything. And if you're in control of the narrative and you're the one that's making the project and you want to put yourself in this part that you would never otherwise be cast in because you know you can do it, there's something inside of you that says, I can absolutely hit that bar, that's amazing. But if you're in the industry as an actor for hire, the way that we are, it really is critical to understand how you fit into this sort of cultural narrative or cultural zeitgeist. And that's not to say that you can't push back against it. It's not to say that you don't approach those parts that you think you may not get with total abandon and like a fierce professionalism. But I think it just helps to moderate expectations if you know where you fit, or you know how you fit. And knowing too that changes over time and culture readjusts itself. But that was something, I think also too, like, I had this kind of crazy experience where I worked with someone on a show that was doing like 100 different things, and it kind of blew my mind in a way that made me think, oh, actors should be able to do all of this. But it was a unique situation, and I think I just had to readjust my expectations after I finished Orphan Black.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing, like understanding that the industry is going to read you a certain way, right, Ilona? Could you talk, Ilona, a little bit about something Josh said? There's a misperception that casting's not on performers' side, and I think it really intersects with what Jordan's talking about. People maybe feeling like, well, I'm good enough, or I'm this type of character. I could,
For sure. So I think there's a couple things I have to say on that. We want you to get hired. If we've given you an audition and you're either coming in or sending us a self-tape or showing up to a Zoom, it's because we believe you can do the part, period. We're hoping you can, because guess what? If you get hired, I get to go home and hang out with my kids. My job's done. It's perfect, okay? It's not like American Idol. We're not sitting there trying to like Simon Cowell people on our sides. But it's more so, to me, and kind of what I've based my personal career on, is talent's not geographical. I've constantly been auditing classes from the time I was 17, and back in the day in Toronto, everyone just thought I was an actor auditing classes, but I loved getting to see actors bite off a larger piece of work than what the 1 or 2 line would, and I was able to then, as a casting director, turn to my clients and say, and advocate for actors and say, listen, I know they're not union yet, or they might only be apprentice or what have you, or they've only historically as a full member been hired for these smaller one-line roles, but I've seen them take a big bite out of that pie and they've been incredible. So we are there advocating for you. And I've even had an actor come in to audition for a doctor role, and I could tell they were off, and I said, what's going on? And they'd said, well, my coach told me I could never be a doctor. And I was like, cool, did I ask you to come here and be a doctor? And they said, yeah. I said, then forget what your coach said to you. Let's trash that and show me doctor, because I believe you can. So we're also there to decipher whatever the director is saying, because a lot of casting directors I mean some, have sat in classes and watched the way that actors learn, we're able to talk to you in the way that you learn. So most directors, some are writers, some have been DPs, some have only ever been ADs. Some have been actors, which is always great, but some don't know how to talk to actors. So that's really our job to kind of be, I'm a Libra for a reason, you know?
And I have a quick question. I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you guys do. But when producers, directors are bringing you projects, how much sort of like how collaborative is it if there are characters that doctor doesn't need to be any one thing? How much collaboration do you get to have? Say, hey, we could go cast here. We could cast a lot younger with this, or older. Or we could go with a diverse performer, someone with a disability. Or how much do you get to?
It depends on the client. Some are incredible and very open to hearing suggestions. Some aren't.
But that can be because they're seeking a very specific aesthetic.
Could be, or they're just like have a system that's worked for them for a long time, or don't see the value in knowing necessarily what the casting director knows and the people they know. But on the majority of the time, it is pretty collaborative. But at the end of the day, it's usually the network who makes the final decision. So even if the director who might have written the project as well is really passionate about one thing, unless it's a very specific independent film that we get to, kind of get our creative juices into a little bit more, like Adulthood and some of those ones we got to do. The rest of the time, there's suggestions there.
Yeah.
But
thanks for that. You highlight. Do we say that?
Yeah.
Highlight. Yeah. Okay.
Just go for it.
Something about the relationship between funding and securing funding and actors, and we're not going to get too much into that today. But I think definitely, if you're feeling a bit down on your career, recognize actors from 1 through 50 are being sort of challenged by that funding model that the whole industry is kind of dealing with, right? Josh, I want to pivot a little bit and see if you could talk a bit about your relationship to, doesn't have to be about your agent specifically, but like, are there lots of actors in the room? Yeah, okay, great.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. And how many of you have representation? Okay, so like a mix, right? So Josh, could you talk a bit about what you look for in an agent, what that relationship is like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that...
is your agent in the room by chance?
Now, I'm aware...
Cover your ears.
I have a very special relationship with my agent because we barbecue and play D&D together like all the time. So I'm very fortunate, right? But I think that the most important thing for an actor when they're seeking representation, when they're starting a relationship, is a sense that their goals are aligned and that they're supported. Right. If I am with someone who I believe wants me to go down an avenue that I'm not necessarily interested in or comfortable in, as much as an actor, we're all supposed to be malleable, and the idea is to get out there and work. Working on things that excite us should also be part of that conversation, and that doesn't mean which roles. I mean the type of projects, the type of approach that we're taking to the industry. And I know that for myself, my agent puts my comfort and my sensibilities as an individual ahead of the given project of the day. So making sure that I'm being put forward in a way that highlights me for me as an individual, that they're representing me and that they are going to put me in a position where I can best represent them, and feeling confident. I think most agents, that's the goal. But as long as you can be on the same page where you feel confident that that's the relationship you're both working towards, that's, I think, such an important thing.
I love that. Yeah. Jordan, do you have any? Have you navigated? Have you been with one agent for a long time?
Yeah, I've navigated multiple relationships. So the manager that I've had is the same manager I've had since I was 19.
Oh wow!
And I've had.
I mean, you're only like 24 now, right? So it's
yeah,
that long. But.
Yep, just 24. Just 24. I turned 36 this next week.
Beautiful.
Wow, I forgot my own birthday.
Does that make you also a Libra?
Yes.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah.
My birthday is
We got a Leo in the house.
Is next Thursday.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, is Thursday? What date's Thursday?
25th.
I'm the 25th.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Cute.
This is so nice.
That's what an odd thing.
Now,
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know this, but two 25ths can't be in the same room at the
That's
same
right.
time.
And the battle begins now.
No, actually, the funny thing about that is that an actress I worked with for a long time, her birthday was also the 25th. They're good people.
Maybe we should all get together and do something on the 25th.
The
I
world
don't
would
know.
implode. Yes, I have navigated multiple relationships, some of them really hard. My first agent that I ever had was really toxic, and he specialized in youth representation. He was totally a source of my body dysmorphia, and really made me nervous about the idea that I was gay and I shouldn't come out publicly at any point. It was going to destroy my career, and obviously it was a different time, and not to litigate ideas from the past, but I think that there was probably a way to be supportive despite maybe different cultural standards or different cultural ideas at the time. I think there was still a way to be supportive, and he definitely wasn't, and that relationship ended very badly. And then my next agent I really liked, and unfortunately we just outgrew each other, and my career moved in a different direction, and the relationship didn't really service my career anymore. And I have been through many ups and downs and have learned a lot, but the one thing that I'll say when you're looking for representation, the most important thing, in my opinion, is finding someone who's really excited about you in some way, shape, or form, because you're bringing something to the table that they don't yet have, or they just think you're great. And they don't know how they're gonna make it work. They don't know what viable path there is for your career, but they're gonna find it. And that, above anything else, is the one thing that I would say to look out for.
Yeah, and I might just add, like, for those that don't have representation, the fastest way to, in my opinion, to find someone to be excited about you is to be excited about yourself. Like, to know yourself, to go to art shows, go see music, know what you love, know what you're passionate about, know what books you love, so that when you walk into that room, and especially living in the North, if a lot of you are from the North, there may not be as many agents here, and you might go like, well, how do I approach that? I think a big part of that, and I feel like I learned this lesson as a young actor, was to, I read Letters to a Young Poet, a very short Rilke book, a book that just kind of tells you to, like, know yourself. And then when you walk in the room, whether it's excitement that you're carrying in with you or just that sense of confidence, I think it puts you in a better position to be able to know if this is the right agent for you, or is this somebody that's going to get to know me and get excited about me.
Well, to the whole, circling back to the idea about knowing your casting, if I had walked into, an agent's office and they were like, man, do I see you leading the next Marvel movie? I'd be like, really? That makes one of us. Not
Red
to say
flags, blowing smoke.
Yeah, like, they might be very excited and maybe even really believe it themselves, but if their belief in you is not totally aligning with reality, then it's also just something to pay attention to, which is why knowing yourself and knowing what you want is a really great place to start.
Yeah. Ilona, do you have?
Yeah, I do. So, I do. No, but I think there's a couple things you want to keep in mind when you're looking for an agent. One is it's a partnership, right? You guys have the same common goal of making money. So as much as they're interviewing you, you want to make sure you're interviewing them, right? So what is your communication style? Are you a phone person? Or are you a texter and an emailer? How often can we get together to talk about our career? Where do you see this going? Which casting directors do you interact with the most? You kind of want to almost reverse engineer what it is you want to do. If, despite political issues, if you want to end up getting your O1 visa and working in the States, a great question is to ask, is there anyone on your roster who has their O1 visa, who works in the States? Do you have any sister agencies there? What steps did you take in helping them achieve that? Figure out what it is you want and how they're going to help you get there. So also, at the end of the day, your agent is not your auntie, they're not your uncle, they're not your best friend. If it isn't working out, you can say that, it's okay. It's fine. And great places to look for an agent that follows all the standards is TAMAC or EIC, check them out. And again, you don't need to necessarily get representation in your city. You can look for representation in Montreal if you speak a lot of French. You can look for representation in Toronto. Talent isn't geographical and most things are Zoom. So don't feel like you're pigeonholed to exactly where you live.
Yeah, I think that's really important advice. And it's especially important for geographic reasons, so that you don't feel limited. I want to talk also a little bit about background work, and I'm wondering if anybody, like, have Jordan or Josh, did either of you do any background work over the years?
I was the pig.
Yeah. on play number 2.
Yeah.
Let me just say something though about background very carefully, because on top of, yes, I'm promoting Touch Me right now, and please go see it. I am also starting to put films together, and I'm starting to put television series together, and my husband's a lovely screenwriter, and we've been working closely doing that for a while. Something we both say all the time is, if you are doing background work, oh my God, be proud, because it is one of the most essential components to making a world feel real and full. Anytime movies or television cheap out on background, to be honest, I notice, our friends notice, anyone in film notices, it shrinks the world, it makes things not as textural and interesting. Background is essential. So even though I haven't done it, I have a tremendous appreciation for it, because it is very hard work, it's long hours, can be very boring sometimes, but oh my God, it's essential.
And look, we're in an industry where the job, sometimes you can be working steady for a long time, and then sometimes you might go a great deal of time before you book anything. And especially, if you're trying to cut your teeth, or you want to get on a set and you're hungry for that next opportunity, background and the way that ACTRA has structured the rules around background and how everything works, it is a place where you can earn a living, right, and support yourself as you pursue bigger things in this career, right, in this path. And there's there should be, no issue for anyone to think, you know what, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna do a good job, I'm gonna work on this script that I'm writing on, and I'm gonna let them pay me to do that, and to hustle and do my own stuff. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I like that. I like talking about it. It doesn't mean that you have to have done it, because we do need to kind of work against the stigma.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because like unions exist for all of the members, and that's like whether or not you're sitting at the top of the call sheet or whether or not you're sitting and holding. And as Jordan said, like, the film and television is brought to life. So yes, definitely want to not only have pride in that, but also know that the collective agreements that ACTRA bargains protect background performers. So a question that comes up a lot that I just want to make sure I communicate to those of you in the room that may be doing some background work is, you are guaranteed through the IPA access to a call sheet. Now that may not always happen. So what do? Okay, so do you have an agent? That might be your first call. Hey, do you have access to the call sheet? Something's come up. I need to talk to somebody about it. Okay, well, what if I don't have an agent? Now what do I do? Well, you can ask an AD. I want to know who the business rep is on this show or on this movie. The call sheet has that information. It will tell you who the ACTRA business rep is. And it doesn't matter if you're union or not. When you're on an ACTRA set, you have access to the collective agreement's protections. So let's say you've called an agent, they don't have it. You've asked the AD, they don't have it. But you know something needs to be done, somebody needs to contact it. Maybe you know Josh. Josh is in Oslo. Maybe you say to him, hey, I'm not sure what's happening. I'm missing this call sheet. I need to talk to a union rep. ACTRA Toronto also on our website has a what's shooting page. You go to that website, you click on the production, it's gonna tell you who the business rep is. So if you're ever on set and you feel like something's going on, I need to know if it's okay, I need someone to know that something's happened, you can always find the business rep's name on the what's shooting page. But also know you are entitled to access to at least some amount of information off that call sheet. Maybe you're not gonna get everybody's phone numbers, but you're definitely gonna have access to the business rep's phone number. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't know who that person is, union or not, okay? Acting often means, or choosing to be an actor often means that you spend a lot of time not acting.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, right. And or what kinds of things? I mean, you just talked about moving into producing. You and Doug write and all these things. But like, let's say not. I mean, what kinds of things do you do to keep yourself fresh and busy and sharp?
Well, here. I'm a firm believer that this is. Bear with me because this is going to get a little bit. I don't want to say woo-woo because I don't like that word, but everything is everything. So anytime I take time to cook or bake or build something, because I woodwork in my spare time, anytime I'm creative, I'm exercising that muscle. I might not be acting, I might not be reading a script, and yes, I'm sure there's lots of acting classes and places out there that say like, read plays and, put on readings, and those are all great things to do. There's nothing wrong with it, but I will say, you can sometimes feel like you're on a treadmill a little bit with stuff like that. So I tend to, when I need to exercise that artistic muscle, find something that really makes me feel good, something that I don't need somebody else to tell me I can do. I don't need someone to call me and give me an audition and put me through tests and then give me a job. This is something artistic or creative that I can do of my own volition, on my own time, and feel good about it. And that is honestly something that has kept me so sane through because I've also had, and everybody's careers look so different. I've never been like a working actor, meaning I've never been one of those actors that just hops from job to job semi-consistently and, doing a few episodes here or doing a small part in a movie here and a bigger part in a movie there. Like, I go huge chunks of time without working. And then I land a project in usually like kind of a bigger capacity that I'm really excited about that keeps me going for another couple of years. That has been the track record of my career. I've not been one of those consistently working actors. I'm very unpredictable, actually. Some might say unstable.
Yeah.
But, and it's wonderful. It's been wonderful. It's also been really hard sometimes when I go a year between jobs and you start to doubt whether or not you're actually good and whether or not you should keep doing what you're doing. And I think it's really important psychologically to try and remove the necessity of someone else giving you reassurance that you're on the right path and you should be doing what you're doing, even if you're going a year or 2 years between work. It's just important to find ways to reassure yourself or, lean on people that you care about.
Josh, you seem like you're
I'm so sorry.
aligned here. No, just
going on.
So, I mean, it's a wonderful, beautiful answer, and I think that I could probably use to adapt some of that mentality for myself at any given time. For people that are trying to cut their teeth in the industry, I think that we often forget, and I think what you're saying, like, we don't have to wait for someone to tell you you're good enough, we want,
Of course.
You just relax and love it. But here's the thing. Have you ever heard the saying that it's like the best camera is the one that you have? It's in your pocket. You want an opportunity? You want to get on screen? You want to sharpen your skills? You reach into your pocket. You want to make a movie, right? There's great agreements that ACTRA supports, like the co-op agreement, where union actors can get together and there doesn't need to be any money behind it to shoot it. And ACTRA opens these doors to let those projects still exist. We think as soon as we get tied into the union, we think, oh, well, now I can't do anything unless someone hires me to do it. No, ACTRA has opened doors to make sure you can still do stuff that you want to do. You can create your own work. And I have always been a big advocate for create, don't wait. And I believe that if no one's ready to give me an opportunity right now, I'll make the opportunity, and then I'll make them notice it. That's the goal, right? And I mean, look, when I was young, I had this mindset of like, whatever room I walk into, I want to be the guy that they need. So I try to diversify my skill set, right? And
what does that mean, Josh? Like, how did you do that?
So it's like, man, I want to learn more about design. So I started doing that. I started writing. I started directing. I started doing all these different things because I was hungry to be active and creative. And I've done a lot of work in theater, and I've created a lot of my own work in the theater. And I love film and I love theater and I love the intersection of the two. And when you can, you know, when I'm working on something and I can walk off a film set and then go to the theater to do my work there, that's like the happiest I've ever been, is like balancing those two worlds. On one hand, with theater, you're riding the wave, because, you know, that's what theater is it's just this ethereal thing. And then you walk onto a film set and you see the wave and you see how the wind machine works that's making it happen. And both sides of those things are very real and require their own specific kinds of skills. But if you can diversify and expand your creative horizons, you will be a more fulfilled, well-rounded actor. And if you're someone who desires work, then just make it. Anyways, I don't know.
Love that. I love that. And Ilona, like, even in your field, like, you've expanded what you're doing by opening up an office, Smyth Casting Northern, is that right?
Smyth Casting North.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, how has that allowed you to kind of expand your, like, in the same but different way? Like,
so I think some commonality between casting and acting that actors don't realize is we're out trying to get our next job just as much as everyone else is, and we're interviewing and auditioning, and we have no union. You guys do, which is fantastic. We have no guarantee of work. And again, I think having started in a regional market myself and helping build the infrastructure there, I see so many actors from the north, many of whom I've cast many times. And in order to get to see more faces in person and bring that knowledge to local crews, or, you know, I've even had financiers and people come to me asking, where should I shoot this project? And I've mentioned the north many times and explained that there's talent there. To me, that's something that I really want to advocate for and keep going.
it's so important. I think it must, I mean, well, you tell me, but it must feel good to have Ilona investing in the community. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people nodding their heads. So thank you, because I think sometimes, you know, I said this, I recently sent a video out to our members living kind of north of Barrie, and said, like, you know, the collective agreement follows you wherever an actor set is. So you have those protections, but it means something very different to have a place and know that there's casting here, know that these services, know that CION is here, you know, securing more and more work and advocating for more work. So thank you. I want to talk a little bit with you about genre casting, and you've done some horror, right? Mm-hmm. And how does genre affect casting? Do you think of it more through the script, or when you're working with a producer, are you guys looking at, remember earlier we were asking you about, like, overall aesthetic, like, is it an aesthetic thing or is it script based?
It's A and B. So it's really the director's vision. Sometimes the director's the writer, which is great. Sometimes that's not the case. I think something for actors to keep in mind too, when they get a script or an audition, it's quite often it's the first time we're ever hearing those words out loud. So, you know, unless it's like a really, like, you know, from the earth indie script where they might have thrown table reads together, that's not the case. And sometimes when you say these lines, they come out not sounding right. As long as the context is there, we'll immediately stop you and say, you know what, that actually sounded crazy. We're going to change it this way. And that happens sometimes. So don't doubt your feeling on something so long as the character's there first. That's really what we care about. It's truthfulness. I tell some of my friends I'm a lie detector. I want to believe what you're saying to me. I want to feel like I'm watching you experience this for the first time. And when it comes to the genre thing, I mean, sometimes I like to mess with people on a psychological level because I have a psych background and a film background, and then I dropped out. But it's, you know, like I put one actor in one of Osgood Perkins' movies, and she was definitely familiar to people, and it was a one-day role where she gets brutally murdered. And then as a millennial, you'd be like, why did that feel like my favorite auntie just died? It's so weird. And saying the name Lauren Holly, unless you're like, you know, a cinephile like myself or other people in this room, you might not know who that is. But then on the car ride home, you're like, oh my God, it was the redhead from Dumb and Dumber. I like burnt out that DVD as a kid. So it's understanding that it might have affected you on another level. So I do try to bring some of that to the casting. but yeah, it's, you know, there's every different genre. I think as an actor, you need to approach it differently.
Yeah. Cool. Michael, how much time do we have left? I want to talk a bit about auditioning. So, okay, great. Okay, let's try to be not rapid fire, but like, what are some of the, I mean, auditioning has changed so much, right? And I think to the benefit of people living in places, communities that are further away from the sort of epicenters of the big cities. What are some of your tips and tricks for auditioning? Josh, I actually kind of want to start with you because I don't want to forget to say, you talked a bit about like not overshooting the rehearsal or something. Do you remember talking about that? Something about rehearsing too much, or?
Oh, was this when we had that?
When we had our prep call.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember? I really liked that. Can you go back?
I think that, look, I think that if you obsess over the audition too much, you end up working yourself into a corner. And if you over prep, and I'm not saying don't prep, but if you over prep, say you get an audition and you're playing, you mentioned a doctor as an example earlier. You got an audition for a doctor, and I don't know, it's a page. And we start trying to obsess over this. Well, I'm not a doctor. How do I do this? The doctor, the name of the character is Doctor in this situation because that is the factor that makes them important to the story. This is a person, okay? I can only lead. I don't have much information when we audition. We get very little, right? So I have to be truthful. That's what you said you're looking for, right? So how do I be truthful? I lead with myself, okay? What are the things that I can discern about the character from the scene? The character's important because when I'm auditioning for it, it'll be a he. He does all these things, and he happens to be a doctor, and that's what turns the key on making it important for the other character, right? If I overthink it beyond that, beyond just try to bring myself truthfully to what's on the page and try to present me, because I'm never going to get a role by being this third or fourth best version of someone else. I've got to lead with me. As long as I get my text down and I'm able to bring truth to it, then I'm putting something forward that's usable. Again, you said the great thing, your job, you're a lie detector, you're looking for truth, you're looking for honesty, right?
I love that.
If I get caught up in overthinking, how do I be a doctor, how do I be this thing, how do I be this, then I'm probably over-rehearsing myself to a point of stagnation, and now you're gonna see through everything I'm doing, right? Because I've gotten too much in my head. Right, the person that I'm auditioning for is a human being. I'm a human being. Hey, that's gonna work, right?
And this is what I mean. I should have maybe said this. Caveat is like it's gonna be different for everyone. Like what works for Josh, you might hear and go, I really needed to hear that. I've been way over rotating on auditioning, but Jordan may have a totally different approach. Maybe he rehearses for.
Can I just say something for 2 seconds? If you get something for like a doctor or detective, they do this job day in, day out. So you don't need to like over say what you're saying. They say it all the time. Like, sorry, they're not going to make it. You know, like it's not.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, something I was going to say is just I found a little trick, and when I say it's a little trick, I mean it's actually psychologically really hard, but something that I'm working at all the time is I find that if I believe myself as something, I have a much easier time committing to the audition, whatever it is. And a little that I've found really works, not to harp on about this doctor thing, they don't know I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
They don't know I'm not a doctor. I could have done a degree in life sciences and gone to medical school and become an actor. I can say hydrocephalitis multiple times or whatever.
Brag.
Like, or like, you know, my husband's laughing right now because like I would love to be a doctor. The point is that they don't know that. They don't know I'm not an architect. They don't know that I'm not a police officer. They don't know anything about me. And they're only going to know what I'm going to do in this audition right now. So if I can believe myself as this person, I have a much easier shot at convincing them that I am this person. And I think to you know, everybody's point about not overthinking things, I do kind of think that's a real thing. I think especially because, you know, we're not in the days anymore where we go into the room and we just lay it down and we leave, and we don't really have any control over how we're seen or what's perceived after we leave the audition room. Now we sit and we play back these self-tapes over and over again. I set a limit for myself. If it's not there within 5 to 6 takes, then I either think like something, I either really need to like revisit the point of inception here, or probably there's a great take in there that I'm just overthinking way too hard.
Totally.
And I follow my instincts, and because the reality is like I wouldn't get more than 10 to 15 minutes in a room. I'm given a little bit more time, and I want to use that wisely and be professional about it. But I also shouldn't be doing an audition tape for 8 hours.
No,
it's not going to happen. You are not going to get the golden take or do that. Just nuance that one moment so perfectly that, like, honestly, and please, you can speak to this so much more than I can. I think the character is there or the character is not there.
It's you or it's not you,
yeah.
right? And that goes back to what I
because
was
of the
saying at
very
beginning,
first thing you said,
right?
Yeah.
As long as you're careful with what you're comfortable with what you're putting out. And the other thing is, I feel like a lot of people, when they start overthinking, they get stuck on the emotions that they perceive they should be taken away from the scene, that the director's looking for, that the casting's looking for. And playing emotion is such a trap, right? No one wants to see you play emotion. In our real life, we don't play emotion, all right? Play the text. If the emotion comes and it's truthful, great, all right? Emotion is a response to what's happening, all right? So play the text and let the emotion happen or not.
That's a real artistic thing to help with auditions. I'm wondering if we could talk just really technically, like, what are some things that you think make people's tapes stand out, Ilona?
Oh my God. Okay, so I have
sorry, but we really want to know.
No,
like,
no.
Is my iPhone good enough?
Yes. So, couple things. I have a love-and-hate relationship with the whole self-taping thing. I miss being in the room so much, but I love that I get to see so many more people. So it really is this, the worst thing for me is when I watch a tape and it might be an actor I know, or I'm just like, I just need them to do this one thing and then they're there and I can't immediately give them that direction. I have to then contact their agent, and sometimes we don't have enough time to wait the 48 hours to get that tape back. So it's a service and a disservice. But what makes a tape stand out is, it's the general things. Don't overthink it. Like when I have actors ask me about their slates, like beginning, end, what do you want? I'm like, I don't care. Just tell me your name and your height, whatever we're asking for. It's irrelevant from what you're actually doing. Make sure I can see you.
Meaning have a decent light, or
have a decent light.
But that doesn't mean you have to spend a ton of money. You just need to stand where the light can see you, right?
Our phone cameras are incredible. So medium to close-up shot. I want to see you. I want you looking in our general direction, not talking to someone behind you. Get a reader who's going to help you. If it says general American accent, maybe don't ask your uncle who only says sorry to be your reader, or your Latvian grandmother. Find somebody who's in your community, and that's where taking classes and getting to know other actors is so advantageous for you, because call a friend, it exists. Proper lighting, proper setup, and take the time to understand the character and bring me a character. And again, don't tape it to death. And I think my biggest issue is if it says you get out of bed or you're in a fridge, I don't need to see that you can get up out of bed. I believe it.
Amazing.
Okay, I don't need to know you can open a car door.
You haven't seen me get out of bed.
Okay. Fair enough. But you don't overthink all the nuances. I don't need 5 different angles. Like I don't even overly care about costume. Don't dress like you're going for Walmart unless your character's going to Walmart. But give me character first. I'm not the wardrobe department. I'm not the makeup department. And I think the one thing most actors need to hear, and I have actors come to me all the time, like, I'm going to get new headshots. I just got to lose 20 pounds. Or like, is there a place for someone like me? I'm starting this really old. Or, it doesn't matter. You are the product you're presenting, and there's a space for everybody. It's just when it's written, it's when preparation meets opportunities. So don't second guess what it is you're bringing, because you are literally the only version of you out there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like my part of this is going to have to wrap there, but I love the closing on that. And then Michael is going to, if you have submitted some questions, we're going to go through those. And if you haven't submitted your question, you're also welcome to ask me union stuff, and we can continue. Is Tazis? Oh, she's outside. Is it a good time to say that we're going to... So once we wrap up here, you go for it.
I'll leave final moments for any sort of promotions.
Okay.
Want to do. How's that? We'll jump into some Q&As. We do have some good ones. Try to do them quickly so that we can get through as many as possible. For each of the panelists, what is your biggest struggle getting into the industry? Anyone?
Being young and female and living in a regional market.
My biggest struggle
If you had
was
struggles,
getting the confidence to, or not my struggle, but it was like just realizing confidence was the thing that I needed. So it wasn't that I had to know I didn't have to know a casting director. I had to reach out to a casting director and say, or an agent and say, hey, would you have coffee with me? Now, Ilona might go, oh God, don't invite 100 actors to call and ask me to go for coffee. But I knew that if I could get in front of somebody, that could start a relationship and that could take me to my first agent. And so knowing that I didn't need to know everybody in the industry to get started was, I think, my first big lesson as a performer.
Also, if I can, I will. When I was at TIFF, I stopped a security guard leaving one of the parties. I was like, you have a beautiful face, you should act. And he chased me to my Uber and like knocked on the window. He's like, I am an actor, I know who you are. And I was like, give me your email. And I had my associate set up a Zoom. So like, I will meet, I'll have a conversation. That's, whether it's on Zoom or in person, it's a different thing.
Well, I didn't honestly struggle to get initially into the business, but I think that what I really struggled with getting my first job was battling my nerves. I had terrible audition nerves. I had audition nerves, by the way, up until I was about 30 years old. Like, I distinctly remember my last in-room audition, and I'd gone through a couple of years where, thank God, I had gotten more practiced at it and my system started to settle, but like, I used to choke on my words. I was a regular on a television series, and I was terrified to go into the room. It happens to everybody. Like, that's honestly been one of the biggest hurdles. And just as I got really comfortable in room, it's so funny, this thing called COVID happened. And then that didn't exist anymore. I'm so sorry.
Josh, what about you? Did anything? Because we can go to another question if that doesn't. Yeah.
I think that early on, when you're starting to get auditions and things are starting to move, and then you see you're getting the same casting director is calling you in for stuff, and you're not booking anything, and you get this sense in your mind that it's like, oh, they don't like me. Right?
We're asking you over and over again. It's just, we see something and we're hoping it's going to work one time. We keep asking you for a reason.
So me learning that, because these casting directors all keep wanting to see me, and I'm thinking, it's this like humiliation parade. They're dragging me out in front of them. Look at this guy. What an idiot. They're wasting their time, right? But if I've booked the room, if the casting director wants me present, that means I'm doing something right, and figuring that out and learning that.
It's the invitation to the party. It's up to you to
We're going to go
That's
to Michael's
right, yeah.
next question here.
For young actors struggling with consistency, I presume this is consistency of character. What advice do you have?
Consistency of character or consistency in your auditions?
Yeah.
Just
An audition.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's okay. Because sometimes you wake up and you're like, I'm just not feeling it today. Well, that's part of what's coloring the character. Good news, bad news, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes depending on like where I am in my life, my voice is either like, it could be your voice. So many things that can change. I think it comes back to a lot of the things that Josh and Jordan have said around trust the text and show up for the text. That's the consistency, is that professionalism to say, I may have been up late last night because I have a waitressing job or whatever it is, but showing up to that text is going to help you get through that, I think. What about you guys?
I mean, that's really perfect answer for it, right there. That's really what it is. I don't know that I can add anything more too valuable to that.
I think letting go of the idea that consistency is something to aspire to in art. I just don't think it's possible. I think when you're dealing with something as amorphous and indefinable as I wake up and I have this text and I have to be this character, I don't know why some days I step in front of the camera, I get some lines, and like it's like magic. And something just, I'm not tense, my system works perfectly, I have no self-consciousness or fear or nerves, or the pressure to get the job just doesn't seem to be there. And then another day, for some totally like indeterminate reason, like it just is awful that day, and I am absolutely totally paranoid about getting the job. And I mean, maybe there's something in there about not trying to get the job, but that's a whole other thing. But I think just trying to let go of this idea that like consistency is even achievable in this art form, in this medium. It's too at least this is just my own personal opinion, I just think it's too sort of, I think amorphous is the right word. Like it's just too slippery.
Nebulous.
The hand gesture.
Well, where we can find consistency, even if it's just very true, consistency is not achievable. Show up, do the work, and make sure that what you're putting out, like I said at the beginning, you're proud of the output, all right? And everything else, whatever the day you're having, like you said, it'll just color the role because we're just gonna give over to it, right? Preparation and then give over.
Yeah. Michael?
This one's for ACTRA. How is ACTRA working to make it easier for new production companies in the North? And I want to point out this person wrote Lab Dork. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably lab work, correct?
Or maybe that's their nickname.
It could be it could be the online name. How is ACTRA working to make it easier for new production companies to hire in the North, and would you work with production companies to make sure everything is aligned as per the agreement?
Yeah, I mean, I would love, whoever's question this is, I came with a staff person. Her name's Taza Decker. She's probably just out in the lobby area, because really the thing is, like, you do want to connect with a staff member to learn more about the different agreements, whether it's the low budget agreement, learning about CPIP, how these things work. And then they will start that conversation with you. So I don't want to get things wrong. I'd rather you hear directly. But Ilona,
100%.
if you...
Well, I was just gonna say, like, anything that's done on an ACTRA-specific production from the casting side, it's gonna be followed appropriately. And with background work now coming up to the North, and what we do, we've made it way more equitable for anyone who's ACTRA apprentice on set. Like, those vouchers that are just going to somebody's cousin, brother, uncle, next door neighbor aren't happening as much, and it's making it easier for those who felt like they weren't getting seen to get seen.
Yeah, but this would be a great day this afternoon for those of you looking to produce a project up north to talk to Taza as well, okay?
What is the main thing that helped you find your casting type? So people's perception, how casting agents use you as actors, or what they put you in?
We didn't talk too much about teachers, and I won't go into too much about the teacher, but I did have a teacher that talked to me very early about how the camera was going to see me, and then how casting was going to see me. For better or for worse, sometimes that feedback is, for a young performer, is actually just going to be way too limiting, way too, oh God, I barely know who I am, and now you're telling me who I am, and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. However, that information that I received, that feedback, eventually helped me just kind of settle and go, I gotta stop trying to be the thing that the camera and casting doesn't know that I am yet, because the way that it sees me is these parts, and I need to go in and I need to show Ilona that I can do that, because that's what, when she's reading the book, I'm one of the things she's picturing for that part, so I better be able to do that. Over time, little colors, little bad days, little comedy, little this, little that, casting started to go, oh, you're also kind of quirky, or you also have a sense, and then things started to expand. But I first had to know how I was going to be received and seen on camera, and then I could go. Then you can start to kind of break out.
Well, it was confusing for me because my career sort of broke playing a part that was not in any way myself, that was very, very different, and doing like technical character work is this, like, it's a kind of a whole other procedure as an actor, but feedback was helpful moving forward. Even, I think, like you said, trying to be somewhat conscientious of who's giving you that feedback and who you can trust, and it's a very hard thing to it's difficult to say what is the thing to look for in a person where you can trust their feedback versus who is a person that's giving you destructive and toxic feedback. Yeah. Most of the time, sometimes they're even giving you the same feedback, it's just that one is designed to hurt your feelings and the other one is designed to be constructive. So I would say, like, some of the most important feedback I've gotten is just from people in my life. Also, roles that speak to my own interests, things like journalism, things like writing or medicine or law, which is a weird interest to have, but I do have it. Those are all parts that, like, I can play. Those are all people that I could easily be seen as, or friends telling me over the years that like even though I dropped out of school, I seem like someone who has a degree, or like I might read as academic or something. Those are all just important little pieces that start to form a picture and help sort of illuminate this idea of who are the roles, who are the characters that I can best fill.
I really hate the idea of type, and I think I said it before, like it actually, like if you have a coach telling you a casting director's thinking a certain way when they are not in the room or know our process in any capacity, take that with the smallest grain of salt. Don't let anybody tell you what you could be in any aspect of your life. Like, there's limitations. You will not be seen for a 7-year-old black girl. I'm sorry, you don't fit that.
No, I needed to hear this.
I know, but otherwise, there is no like specific type.
And type changes over time.
And if you do something outside of the box, like if you do stand-up comedy and that's not something I know, send a set to my office. Let us know what you're up to. Or tell your agent to tell us. That's literally how they're making that 15%, right? They're the buffer between us. And if you don't have one, send us what you've been doing. Or if you've been in a situation that we've seen you 25 times and we haven't been able to cast you, have your agent reach out 1, 2, 3, 4 times. There might not be some reason for it. The roles could have been cut. Who knows? You could have looked like the director's ex-husband. She didn't want to stare at your face for 2 weeks.
Been there.
No idea. But say, you've seen them 25 times. What's going on? And this is what they've been up to since you last saw them. Is this, that, and the other thing. We want to know.
And remember that we, like I said, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. If we're honest, we're bringing ourselves to it. When I was starting off, I got cast so often as this, brooding heavy, and I got that a lot. And then everybody.
Wait, this guy?
That's it. Yeah, that
might be
that
why.
Guy, very intense
Brooding?
looking.
Come
Yeah,
on.
but the reality is that that's just how I look. I've just got resting brood face. But I'm actually a teddy bear, and anyone that knows me knows that. And then, so you chip away, you just keep getting your reps in, you just keep doing the auditions, and eventually little bits, as long as you're bringing yourself to it, little bits start to shine through. And then one day someone looks at a part and they go, man, you know what? I think that resting brood face could do this. Yeah. And then they give you the shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, you go ahead.
No, we do have to wrap it up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if we didn't get to your questions, but our panelists will hopefully stick around for a little while. If you didn't get to ask it today, please, if you can ask them in their moments. We got a couple moments, though, for a little bit of promotion. Any other final words from our panelists?
Yeah, I just do want to say that Smyth is going to be casting background for a TV show that's starting up very shortly.
Woo-woo.
And we have a couple other projects up in the north that are coming up that I can't talk about yet. Both on the principal side and the background side. If you're not on background work, get on it. It's an incredible thing that I came up with to try to make things more equitable, as well as help actors keep their hard-earned dollars in their pocket. We also do an amazing thing called Background Banter that at the end of every month, except for July, August, and December because of holidays. This month we have the fabulous Ashley Jones on, who's an actress, 300 plus episodes of Bold and Beautiful, and a bunch of other things. And she also is a producer and a writer and incredible. And being on set as a background actor is also like a master class in acting. You get to sit there and watch people like Josh Gad, Dakota Fanning, whoever do their job, and you can pay to be in that room, but guess what? They're going to pay you, and you get to manifest. What's it going to be like when I'm standing here? How do they hit those marks? How many crews around me? How many cameras? You get to watch these people take directions. It's pretty incredible.
And if you have, like Jordan and I had a lot of nervousness in auditions, but guess what? If you're spending days and days on set doing background work, you had to take that confidence home with you, bring it into your audition room so that when you do get a part, you are on set, you know, I've been here before. I know this space. I know what the different jobs are around me. Take your confidence from whatever it is that you're doing to support your craft.
That's really smart. Yeah. Yes, actually. Well, I wish that I'd thought of that when I was really nervous. So similarly, there is, because I am, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this too much, about the necessity of carving out a place for yourself at the table if you can't find a seat. because that does happen. It happens to actors at every level over the course of their career as industries expand and contract. It is so essential that you get resourceful in producing something that, what did you say? Cooking but can't talk about it or something?
Yeah,
Producing something that we're bringing to the North, hopefully spring of 2026. But if and when Touch Me comes out, I think December or January, please go see it. Yes. It is a wild ride, I promise, like tentacles and funny.